Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree from On the Hot Podcast. Today, I have some bonus content for you guys. The bonus content I will be covering today will be in the sport of boxing. And in today's bonus content video for you guys today, for the upcoming Errol Spence Jr. fight and Terrence Bud Crawford fight, the big monumental welterweight, undisputed championship fight that will be taking place in a matter of 10 days in the sport of boxing, I decided to come up with a really unique list and put together my top 5 boxing welterweights of all time. So the only 5 boxers will be eligible will be the fighters that I believe have been the greatest welterweights at all time, the greatest 147-pound fighters that the sport of boxing has ever seen. So let's get into the list. I have some legendary names. Starting off with number 5, the amazing, great Manny Pacquiao. So Manny Pacquiao was very dominant at the welterweight division at 147 pounds in the sport of boxing, and he had a legendary career. But Manny Pacquiao was very dominant at the welterweight division. He's the only man in boxing history to be a world champion in 8 different weight classes. That is phenomenal, from climbing up and down weight classes. What Manny Pacquiao was able to do his whole entire boxing career, it was phenomenal. I don't think we'll ever see someone like that ever in boxing say that they were an 8-time world champion in 8 different weight classes. But I do believe Manny Pacquiao's best days were when he was at the welterweight division at 147 pounds. He became a 3-time WBO champion. It was a 2-time WBA world champion at the welterweight division. And he has his resume at 147 is top notch. He defeated Miguel Cotto, Tim Bradley, Juan Marquez, sent Oscar De La Hoya to retirement, picking up his victory over Oscar De La Hoya and Oscar De La Hoya's final fight in his respective boxing career. And he beat Joshua Cloudy. Manny Pacquiao, to me, is one of the greatest of all time. It's definitely one of the greatest welterweights of all time. He's number 5 on my list. And number 4, I have Tommy Hearns. Tommy Hearns was a true monster at 147 at the welterweight division. He earned 28 straight victories before earning his first title shot at the welterweight division. He went on to become a WBA world champion at the welterweight division. He has KO wins over Pepino Salves, Luis Primera, Randy Shields, and Pablo Diaz. Tommy Hearns is, in my opinion, one of the greats that ever do it in the sport of boxing as well. He's number 4 on my list in terms of greatest welterweights of all time. And number 3, I have Sugar Ray Robinson. He was incredible, and his resume at welterweight was very top-notch. There's actually a debate if he is the greatest welterweight of all time in the sport of boxing. That's how top-notch that Sugar Ray Robinson was at this 147-pound division. Sugar Ray Robinson went 110, had 110 wins, 1 loss, and 2 draws to his respective boxing career at the welterweight division. He was the king of the division from 1946 all the way to 1951 before finally moving up to a new division to fight new and better competition. But even though it was a different time period of boxing, obviously you're not ever going to see someone fight a total of 113, 114 fights in their boxing career ever again. It was a different time period in the 1940s in 1950s compared to what we see in the sport today. It's hard to get some fighters to even fight twice a year. But what Sugar Ray Robinson did back then was very special. He's number 3 on my list. And number 2, I have Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard went 25-0 in his first 25 fights at the welterweight division, earning a total of 25 knockouts in his first 25 fights at the welterweight division. And what Sugar Ray Leonard did was pretty special. He went on to become a 2-time WBC champion, a former WBA champion, and a Ring Magazine champion. Of course, if you guys don't know, you earn the Ring Magazine belt by beating the best man, the best person in that division. And he earned that championship as well, just like all the other welterweights that I just named. So Sugar Ray Leonard went on to defeat Tommy Hearns, which I do believe was the star-spangled moment of his career, by defeating Tommy Hearns and giving him by knockout and giving Tommy Hearns his first career loss in the sport of boxing years and years ago. That's on the top notch of legendary fights in the sport of boxing, when Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns first fought each other in the sport of boxing. That's something that generations have passed down to, have probably told their grandkids about. You go ahead and watch the footage of that nowadays, and it's one of the greatest welterweight fights of all time. But Sugar Ray Leonard is number 2 on my list, clearing the way for number 1, who I believe is the greatest welterweight of all time in the sport of boxing, Floyd Mayweather Jr. In my opinion, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is the greatest is the greatest boxer of all time. I do believe that he is also the greatest welterweight of all time. And at 147 pounds, we saw the great Floyd Mayweather. I think these were the best years of his career once he decided to move up to the welterweight division and take over. And he truly took over this division. He earned 12 very solid wins in the welterweight division and got 3 of those wins via knockout. He won every title there was to win at the welterweight division at different time frames. He was a former IBF champion. He was a former 2-time WBC champion. He was a former WBA champion and a former WBO champion. And for the first time in his career, he actually unified the championships back in 2015 when we got the fight of the century between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. That fight was actually for all the glitz, majority of the glitz and glamours at 147, with 3 out of 4 of the most prestigious titles being on the line. Floyd Mayweather, everybody knows Floyd Mayweather won that fight, and he actually became a unified champion after that fight. But the only thing that's missing, from Floyd's legendary career, was being an undisputed champion. Now, politics got into the way of that in the sport of boxing. And Floyd Mayweather, someone that loves his money, is still hustling out there doing exhibition fights. He just doesn't want to spend his hard-earned dollars on championships. As you guys know, sanction fees, you have to pay sanction fees if you're going to be a champion in the sport of boxing. When you do the math on it, holding 4 titles at once, it's just not worth the money. That is the reason why Floyd Mayweather was never an undisputed champion in the sport of boxing. But nonetheless, he was a unified champion back in 2015 after defeating Manny Pacquiao. But Floyd Mayweather definitely cleaned out the division at the welterweight division, beating the top guys, beating the top names. And this is legendary. I just don't think there is going to be another welterweight in the sport of boxing that can duplicate what Floyd Mayweather did. He beat Zab Judah. He beat Ricky Hatton. He beat Juan Marquez. He beat Shane Mosley. He beat Marcos Maidana. He beat Andre Berto and Manny Pacquiao. And all the names that I just said, he did lose a few rounds against these guys, but all these wins were decisive wins. No doubt wins. No controversy wins. He cleaned out this division very thoroughly. I think at 147, this was the best version of Floyd Mayweather that we saw of his career. And I think he's the greatest welterweight of all time. But with the big fight of the one of the biggest fights of the century, one of the biggest fights that the sport of boxing is going to see, between Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Bud Crawford, where there will be an undisputed welterweight champion crowned for the first time in the 4-belt era, I thought it was a good list. These are my top 5 welterweights in the sport of that I feel have been the best welterweights of all time in the sport of boxing. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Tom Cyree, signing off. And I'll see you guys on next week's episode.